Alright guys, welcome back to another video. Happy 4th of July. It is Alora's birthday, so if you follow Alora on any social media, send her a happy birthday wish. Big shout out to Alora. Sneaking up on 30. That's like the running joke of the day, isn't it? I'm 30, okay?
Everyone no, she's far from 30.
She's far from 30, but I like to tell her she's getting close. 30's right around the corner. Because 30's terrifying. I'm terrified right now. Look, it's turning my hair white. I'm so scared. We have a great video coming up for you guys either tomorrow or the following day. From At the Track with Slick Rick. It was a tough time. We battled a tough track, but everything on the car seemed to work well, but there was just drama at the racetrack, which she doesn't love drama. But what we're doing today is we're talking about the different levels. There's levels to this shit, for sure. And you guys have really seen it all. We started off doing like the stock bottom end 5.3 LS stuff. We had some nice LS motors, and we had some badass LS motors. We had some badass small block Ford motors. Then we, got into some of the billet stuff with the Hemis and the 41Xs, and along with just the cost of the parts, the maintenance is also where there's a big change in, there's levels to it. And we're going to talk about that briefly. I got some components, just some like basic stuff so you can lay your eyes on it and really see the difference. And we're going to talk about the lifespan of some things, the price of some things, because all the engines have the same components. They all got pistons, they all got rods, they all got a crankshaft, they all got a block, they all got cylinder heads, they all got rock arms, they all got push rods, they all got lifters. But depending on what horsepower you want to make, how fast you want to go, what the purpose of the build is. Hey, this is a purpose-built race car, or this is a street car. This is a drag and drive car. All of that goes into factor of the price. One thing I will say is I haven't really dabbled too much in the drag and drive stuff. We do have some street cars, but just to build a car to be fast at the racetrack and drive around, it's definitely expensive. You're adding a whole nother thing of like the cooling system and the reliability of it, where on the race cars they run for usually 2 to 3 minutes at a time, unless you're racing some people. You just sit at the starting line idle in there for what, 2 minutes and 45 seconds?
Yeah. That
happens. But alright, so what we got here is we got an LS connecting rod, we got an LS piston, we have a 41X connecting rod. This is, these are very similar. This one's just media blasted. This is a different manufacturer. A 41X piston, and then a Hemi rod. This is out of the Black Sheep Hemi. And then we got some 41X rocker arms, an LS aftermarket shaft rocker, and then some Hemi rocker arms. So I guess we'll start off first. This is kind of where I got my start with the LS stuff. You guys know, previously known as LS Nasty, now Nasty Racing. The LS stuff is really where I got my start. It was a big jump going from any of the steel rotted stuff. That's an aluminum rod too. I don't know if I have any steel rotted shit in here. That motor's an aluminum rotted motor too. When you go to the aluminum rod, it's a big upgrade. A lot of people talk about the lifespan of the aluminum rod on the big horsepower stuff. Yeah, dude, it's serious. Very short lifespan, and it's a wear item. On the LS stuff, I don't know if we've just gotten lucky, but as far as being a wear item, we were doing this, every year or two. The aluminum rod is much better, much stronger, much safer than the steel rod. If you do have a failure with the aluminum rod, you could still kick the block out and everything like that, but definitely less catastrophic than a steel rod. If you fold a steel rod and that thing starts going around, you destroy everything. Ask me how I know. I've been there. But the aluminum rod works really good. I like the MGP rod. We run the MGP rod in, they're all good when you get to this level. They're all good, but it's just preference. I like the MGP rod. We weighed 330 passes on this, not this exact rod, but an identical rod to this. This rod here has some passes on it. This might be one of the rods, because this is going in the world record motor. This might be one of the rods that's got some passes on it that's going in there. As you can tell, like, this thing is used. You can see where they're just rubbing a little bit side to side. It's not a brand new rod. And what you got to look out for on this is like the pin bore will get wore out. But you're looking at a set of rods buying these new, I don't know, when I was buying them back in the day when I was real heavy in the LS stuff, they were like $1,300 for a set of rods. Now they might be like $1,500 or $1,600 just because everything's going up in price. But it's a very, very good rod. Again, they got a lifespan. If I got a brand new set of rods and I'm running it strong in an LS, obviously RPM plays a factor, weight plays a factor, and how much power you're making plays a factor. But if you're out there going bottom fours, you could probably safely go like 200 passes. A lot of people say you can't street drive on these either. That's false. The big thing is making sure the engine's up to temp. And that's something that you should do all the time, not just if you have an aluminum rod. So this is a fully skirted piston. Again, some race shit. This is the exact piston rod that is in the Corvette that we do drive on the street, the Silverback C06. So to say that it's not streetable, it totally is. Just put a radiator on the shit. But fully skirted piston, as you can see, it's just a healthy, beefy son of a gun. Pistons, what you're going to be looking at is your wear on your skirt as the piston rocks in the cylinder. When it starts wearing down, if it wears down up here to where the rings are, you got some problems. We use a company through TK Performance called Line to Line Coatings in South Carolina, and they can double the life of a piston because they coat it, and the coating will take up that slack. So very, very nice. The guys from Line to Line, highly recommend them. But there's just your basic, $2,000. $1,800, $1,500. Nothing too crazy. When you get the next step up, well, I guess you're going to talk about the rocker arm. The LS rocker arm, this is a Jessel rocker arm. You can get rocker arms in aluminum or steel. This is an aluminum Jessel. I'm partial. I like the T&D stuff. This is a T&D rocker. The rocker arm itself is not much different. The rocker stands are different, at least like on something like this. My steel rockers on my LS stuff looked identical to that. Obviously the geometry could change a little bit, but I'm partial to the T&D stuff a little bit. I like the T&D steel rocker. They oil differently. This is splash oiling, so I don't know if you can see through there, but it's just the oil will come up through the push rod and it'll shoot out the top and it'll just oil everywhere, where it'll actually oil the shaft through the adjuster on the T&D stuff. So I'm a little partial to T&D. I like T&D, but the Jessel, they do work well. $2,000 for a set of rocker arms. So none of this stuff is cheap. No, if you're trying to go out there and make that, 2,500 horsepower and up, you're going to be spending money. The rocker arm stuff, again, I wouldn't necessarily say the rocker arms are wear items, but you just gotta be aware of, the bearings and everything like that. So there's your LS stuff, nothing too crazy. We go to the 41X stuff. This is a CP Corilla rod. I get my rods and everything through Proline because they check them and set them up and everything and make sure they're all good. And it's good that they do that because they were telling me that they did get a batch of rods that had some issues. So if you're not aware and just checking, you're slapped them on there, you have some issues, that can end in catastrophic failure. A set of rods looking at $2,200. So as you can see, the price increase there is significant. They tell you 35 passes on a set of rods, 35 down track passes on a set of rods. So right there you see the difference. If you're getting, price difference, they're not too far off. We're talking about a couple $100. And at this point in the game, in the high level motorsports, you're burning hundreds of dollars. A $100 bill is burning like crazy. That's just the nature of the beast. It's unfortunate that's like that because I'd rather keep it in my pocket, but you got to pay to play. Not bad if you're buying, these every 200 runs. If you make 100 runs a year, that's 2 years of racing. Every 35 runs on this, they want a new rod. We went 70 on our first set of rods because we went out there and we went slow up front. And even like I went to Galot and I made some like soft shakedown, some 330 hits and stuff like that, so you can stretch it a little bit. But again, the risk you have is if you push it with the rod and you break a rod and you kick a rod out the block, now you got to get the block repaired and everything. And you guys saw I purchased a block that was damaged to repair just because it is cheaper. I do a lot of stuff. I try to save as much money as possible. We do everything in-house as much as possible. Buy used stuff, fix it up, and go. So you're looking at $2,200 every 35 passes. If you're racing the car a lot, you're spending a lot of money. Pistons. We got 70 passes on this piston. As you can see how I was talking about the wear? Can you see it on the camera pretty good?
Oh, yeah.
See how it's all up there right where the rings go? This piston, we ended up popping it out and putting a new one in there, just a spare, and we're going to send this off to line to get coated. So not throwing it away, but definitely something you have to be aware of because stuff like this, again, can cause catastrophic failure. That's 70 runs on this piston, and we got new rods in it right now. So we only had to change one, so not bad. But talk about spending money. Yes, you can. Rocker arms, you're looking at like $3,000 or $4,000 for the rocker stand assembly. This one just has one set of rockers on there. I got some others in a box, but the stand, it's all billet stuff. Very expensive. The geometry's all played out. The 41X has been good where you don't really have too many valve train issues. The valve springs are something where is a wear item on every combination. My LS stuff here, like this is a cylinder head we're putting on a stock block combo. It's got a nice spring package from TK Performance. That's a wear item. A lot of people don't realize that the springs do die. You might get 100, 150 passes out of it, but when they start to go, they go, and then you can really cause some damage by not maintaining them, have a spring break, and then you are dropping a valve and you're putting a whole new motor together. So the valve spring is really something that you got to keep an eye on. If you go out there and you're running the car and the tune-up and everything's staying the same and you start losing mile an hour, that's a great indicator that you're losing your valve spring. You got some valve flow going on. The 481X, you're looking maybe like 100 runs. I did a whole video on the longevity or what the maintenance cycle was. I think it was what, like $230 some per pass is what it ends up being. But you could see as you increase, you know, as you make more horsepower, the parts get bigger, and as they get bigger, they wear faster because it's more weight moving around. Where the LS stuff, you know, if you can get 150, 200 passes out of a set of valve springs and 200 passes out of a rod, your cost is much, much, much lower. Probably, I would say, down in like the $20 a pass range, just on maintenance. Then you get over to the Hemi stuff, and the Hemi stuff is crazy because, I mean, look at it, very similar. The 481X is like a modified Hemi. It's like the bottom end of a Hemi, the top end of a big block. Rods just a little bit beefier. Same thing, they're talking about 35 passes and changing a set of rods out, so the maintenance is just as intensive. I don't have a piston. I don't have a spare piston yet. I have to do all that stuff. I just got some spare rocker arms. This is what I want to talk about. Talk about the difference in price. I got 4 rocker arms. I got 2 intake, 2 exhaust, and a couple adjusters. These are absolutely beautiful pieces from Manton. I got a slight deal on it. They did hook me up, so big shout out to Manton. I run all the Manton stuff. I run all their Manton push rods in all my LS stuff. I really run Manton push rods and everything. Our shop truck has Manton push rods. The rocker arms are badass, but you're gonna pay $1,000 for 4 rocker arms. And that's the Hemi tax. So the Hemi is known to just tear shit up. You're gonna mess up push rods. You're gonna mess up adjusters. So I got extra adjusters. The geometry is not great. The Hemi is a maintenance monster. You're gonna work on it a bunch. It's gonna tear up parts. That's I guess, why it's so badass. I don't know. It sounded like a great idea, and as I'm spending all my money and going broke, it sounds like a terrible idea. So you're looking at 35 runs on a set of rods. Pistons, same thing as this. The piston just looks different because it's gonna have a big dome on it. But your same concerns of, you know, when you put a set of rods in it and 35 passes, you look at the piston. If it's eat up on the wall, you're putting another piston in there. The rocker arms, the valve train geometry is not as good, so it's known to burn up push rods and have some issues like that. So having spare push rods, having spare adjusters, that's why we do have spare rocker arms. Just the whole rocker arm assembly is, I think it's like $6,000 or $7,000. When I bought my motor, it came on it, but just to get the spares, look, you're another $1,000. So there's definitely levels to it. You're working on this thing all the time, and you're replacing high-dollar parts all the time. The 481X, a little bit less maintenance intensive, still expensive parts. The bottom end, the rods, you still got to maintenance. You still got to maintenance them. And then you get to like the LS stuff and the small block stuff. Still, even like the high-end LS stuff, the maintenance on it is so much less. I mean, there really are levels to it. You're getting like 5 times the lifespan out of the LS stuff as the 481X or the Hemi stuff, but you're making half the power. That's the trade-off. So it really depends on, this is all a factor. There's a lot of people where you say, hey, I'll give you this car that's got a screw-blown Hemi and I'll give it to you. And a lot of people like, no, I don't want that because I don't want to have to deal with the maintenance on that. And I totally understand that. Slick Rick is a full-time job working on it. I'm excited to get my LS stuff back out there to run it and work on it less. Have more smiles per dollars, I think is what it would be. So we got our cylinder head here that's going to be on the world record motor. That's going together next. We got this cylinder head here in our stock block combo, which is right here. We got that thing all together now. So we're just got to put the heads on, and then we are good to put that in there. So 2 nice, cheap, affordable, realistic, attainable combinations that are going to make good power, make lots of laps, have some fun, do some ride-alongs, make good content, set the hydraulic roller record, and we can do that on the side while we're working on all the other stuff. So anything you want to tell the people about there being levels to this shit?
There's 100% levels to it. I mean, John started out with a basic bottom end 5.3 and
Take me back. Take me back. I miss those days. I miss those days, but yeah, no, there are levels to it. So I guess that's part of the game. So definitely, you get to a point where you teeter cost and fun and everything else. It definitely, as the cost goes up, the work goes up and the fun could teeter down. So that's something you do have to. You can easily. I'm known to ruin my hobbies by making them work, and here I am yet again, baby. So just keeping that trend alive. But yeah, just want to talk about it quick. A lot of people, I really like having the ability to like spread awareness on the channel and show insight. Like when we talked about Slick Rick putting that different oil filter on there, you know, that's like $2,000 to $3,000 worth of work in parts. If you were to take it to a shop somewhere, I don't think a lot of people understand how much work goes on behind the scenes and the cost to do the stuff. So we're super thankful. We got a great team. Kevin at TCAM Performance does all of our machine work. Scott at PIG Motorsports in-house here does all of our engine assembly and really looks over it, health checks everything, does everything for our engine program, and we can't thank him enough. And so much more. So we have a great team. We have the right people in the right places, and we look forward to doing more racing and going faster here in the future. So I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful 4th of July. Remember, firecrackers and shit, don't hold them in your hands. Get that shit out of there. You don't want to be like this. I'm telling you. You don't want to be like this. Or the one here got my thumb. You don't want to be like that either, I tell you. So you guys have a great holiday, and we'll see you guys in the next upload.